make sure we live real quick. All right, I'll let you know when I'm ready. This is Jamil Salib Zamir out of Manning, South Carolina. Sincerely thanking everyone for tuning in to this short broadcast. From the 1st of the month to the 7th of the month, I want to thank Miss Salima for putting that information out, that this is gun violence survivors victim week. That's from the 1st to the 7th. I want to thank Miss Salima again for putting that up and reminding me of it. There's so many things that I have on my mind. But I wanted to talk to survivors of family members and victims who died from gun violence for at least 3 of these days. I have with me today someone very special. I want to play the clip first of the actual incident and how it was reported on News 19. This is Jamil Salib Zamir out of Manning, South Carolina. I thank everyone for tuning in. We're going to play the reel, and then after that, we're going to talk to Mr. Kevin Felder about the incident. And this was his son and grandson who were murdered, and we want to talk to him and see how things are going in their lives with the tragedy that has occurred. We want to remind people of gun safety. We want to remind people of gun violence and those who have suffered from family members' untimely deaths due to gun violence, and try to encourage us to be more responsible, more aware in our communities, and to stand up to those who choose to use guns as a means of handling issues. So let's go into this clip real quick. Then after that, I'll be talking with Mr. Kevin, who is on the line with me. Please stay tuned.
Tonight, we're following the shooting deaths of 23-year-old James McDowell and his son, 1-year-old Tyron McDowell.
The two were shot in an apartment in the St. Andrews neighborhood of Richland County. News 19's Michael Fuller has those details.
Man, it's crazy, man, when it be so close to home.
Richland County Sheriff's Department says that yesterday afternoon around 1 o'clock, deputies responded to 121 Beatty Downs Road to a call for help. When they arrived on the scene, they found James McDowell suffering from gunshots, and then later went into the apartment building and found the body of his almost 2-year-old boy, who was also shot. Now, neighbors in the area are speaking out about the tragedy and the life of the victim.
That was like my brother, man, you know what I'm saying? We did music together and stuff, you know. He had a strong passion for music and taking care of his son, so that's the only thing he did, you know. He ain't mess with nobody. He ain't go out and clubbing and all this extra other foolishness, man. That man stayed focused and humble.
Think about checking on my mother. She's the one down here now, so.
We spoke with a man who didn't want us to use his name, but he feels that this is becoming more common in the area, and he's concerned for his mom.
I'm gonna try to get up out of here. She don't need to be here. But then if something happens up here with her, then I'll be forced to do something.
The Richland County Sheriff's Department says the boy's mother is reeling from pain from the loss.
She's devastated. I spoke with her about an hour ago in my office. Again, we're all devastated. I mean, this is not something we typically see, you know, a young child dying of a gunshot wound, such violence. So, as you might imagine, the entire investigative unit is actively working on the case.
The Sheriff's Department says they currently do not have any suspects at this time. Michael Fuller, News 19, WLTX.
Well, police...
Okay, that was the clip I wanted to play for you. We have on the air with us right now the father and grandfather of the victims, Mr. Kevin Felder. You on the line still, sir?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. He's with us right now. We want to get a short interview with you that if you can tell the story, the date and time in which this occurred. Let's go with that first.
I won't even remember the due time, but
probably. I mean, the year it was 2000 and what?
2018.
2018. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. And where were you at the time when you got the news?
Really was like my mom was going to church, and I was like at her house, and somebody called and told me my son was stopped, and I thought he was joking, but you know what I'm saying, but. Then I was on my way going to Columbia, and then they told me the sheriff's department wanted to see me, and I went to the sheriff's department, and they told me what happened.
Okay, once you got to the sheriff's department, you found out, did they tell you immediately that your grandson had been shot as well?
No, they just told my son, they said, do you know that your son was shot? I said, yeah, that's why I was trying to get to the hospital. But they told me, I'm sorry to tell you that your son didn't make it.
Wow. Wow. And at the time, what was going through your mind?
Shit, man, I mean, all the emotions going across my head, man. It is something that it's kind of hard for me to explain that how I felt.
Right,
So
right.
then I asked him, I said, the grandmother, the mom was looking for her son. So where the son at? Where my grandson at? He tell me, said, you know what? He didn't make it either. So
Wow.
my whole body, I just break down.
Wow. So the individuals, how long did it take them to find out who actually committed the crime?
To be honest with you, man, it was like, I don't know, like 2 months or 3 months. I know it's kind of quick.
It took a while for them to find out because was it because the way in they didn't find any evidence, or was it because the community was not cooperating with the police that you know of?
Oh no, I think the community was. I think the community was helping out. There's a lot of people helping out.
Right, right. But it was just, and when they found out who actually committed the crime, how many individuals were there?
Say it was 3.
They said it was 3. And any of these individuals, did your son know them? Were they familiar? Was community people, or it was just a random crime?
It's supposed to be people he knew, like his friends.
Wow. And the intent of what occurred was robbery.
Yes.
And according to them, or according to, now, did they capture these individuals?
Yes.
And that was 2018. It's 2022 now. Have they appeared in court?
Only one.
Only one. Have they been arrested, or are they out on bond, or how is that going?
No, they were still locked up ever since it happened. Ever since they caught them in 2018, they never got out.
They never got out, and only one of them has been to court. This is due to the COVID crisis. They were holding off on the court dates, or they just took that.
Yeah, they was doing the COVID cases. They was like delaying for the trial a little longer. But one just confessed that he done it, so they just give him like 50 years straight.
They gave him 50 years. Now he confessed that he did it.
Yeah.
Now the other 2, what are they going to do?
I don't know.
So basically, this is a senseless act of violence. And what did they get from the crime, if anything?
I don't even know.
There's no details about it. And over this time, the mother, she was not there at the time. And I know you can't speak for her, but do you know how she's been doing?
Oh, trust me, she wasn't taking it easy. I'll tell you that.
Right, I can't imagine. This is a national gun violence survivor. We're talking to a survivor of the violence. We're not talking to the mother of the child. We're talking to the father of his son who was murdered, and his grandson was murdered. And I understand that your grandson was a few days short of his second birthday?
Yeah.
A few days short of his birthday, and your son, unfortunately, and I don't want to bring up any bad memories, but he was outside of the home when they found him.
Yeah, he came down. They say he came downstairs, and I guess he fall down on the ground.
Came out trying to. Right, he came out looking for help, or trying to get some help.
Yeah.
Okay, and how has your mental state been? How has your mind state been since that time? I mean, has it caused depression? It's been 2 years, and a lot of people are just going through something similar to what you've been going through for the last 2 years. Does it get any easier for you?
Man, I'm telling you something, man. The only way I'm surviving this long, man, I just believe in God and hold faith, man.
And hold faith.
To be honest with you, because it's not easy. I'll tell you right now, it ain't easy. I'll tell you, it's not.
Right. I can't imagine to get that kind of news and then have to deal with it for such a long period of time. Now, your mother,
Yes.
She's still alive?
Yes.
And she has to, that's weighing heavy on her as well, your father?
Are you talking about my mom?
Yeah, your mom and your father, is that weighing heavy on them still? Because
my dad passed away years ago.
Okay, but your mother's still alive.
Yes.
And it weighs heavy on her?
Yeah, she don't even like talk about it.
I understand, and I thank you for coming on today as well. I can't imagine how difficult it is to talk about it, but because this is National Gun Violence Survivor Week, I wanted to bring you on. And Mr. Franklin, I thank you for coming on because I want people to relate to the pain and suffering of people whose lives are taken senselessly due to gun violence, and those who are left behind that have to live with that on a daily basis. So yourself at this point, knowing that there was a confession. Now the other two have to go to trial still.
Yes.
So knowing that there was a confession, how does that make you feel? I mean, how do you feel with the 50 years? Did it release anything in you, or are you still feeling the same way you felt prior to the sentencing?
Man, to be honest with you, man, like I told everybody, it don't make a difference how many years the person get. It never gonna bring the place. It never gonna take the place to bring my kids back.
That's right. That's right. That's right. Now, can you describe your son a little bit, the type of person he was? Because according to the report, he was into music and other things. A pretty decent person trying to do the right thing, having his son at the time as well.
Man, he wasn't doing like I raised him up. Always, he loved his son, but he was more into music. He would really help anybody, man. So a lot of people wasn't really singing, but he was like making videos, putting people in videos and all.
Right.
And he's like a little child, love to laugh, joke around everybody, had a lot of trust issues. I mean, he had love with a lot of people. He loved a lot of people.
He trusted a lot of people.
Yeah.
Yeah, trusted them kind of blindly. He was just a nice, easygoing person, that type of person.
Yeah, because I used to always tell him one time, I said, man, you can't trust everybody, man.
Right.
Before he got killed, he always said, man, hey, Dad, just because you don't trust everybody don't mean I don't trust everybody. I ain't got no love for me out here. I said, man, I just get my love and kids got a bad time to see me.
Right. I find that is a common denominator with a lot of our children, trusting people that they consider friends, people that they consider tight and close. Those are the people that are doing them, either setting them up for murder, setting them up for robbery. What kind of advice would you give in closing to anyone in the situation that your son being very trusting, allowing people into his home, no doubt, because he had to record music around his children? What advice would you give to people who are too trusting in this day and time?
Man, these days, man, like I used to do, man, we used to let nobody in my house. So you want to talk to me, you used to be outside.
Right.
But I never used to look out really inside my house. So.
Right. Right.
He just a level, man. That's how he was.
Right. Well, that's this generation. They believe that everyone that says hey is a friend, and unfortunately, we are losing a lot of very special people due to them really believing that the people they trust are friends, but those people being different than what they perceive. Now, what do you look forward to in the future? Do you work with any other groups or anything about gun violence or survivor groups, or is that a little too painful for you?
I mean, it takes me to help other people be stronger, man. Because life is all about helping each other. Because we don't know what people going through, and we can't feel what people going through. But the only thing we can do is maybe talk to them.
Right.
That's
right.
it.
Right.
My advice is try to tell everybody to be strong, but if they can, or hopefully that one day I will join something.
Right. 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 That's great advice. Again, unity in the community. I'm praying also, Kevin, that our children will begin to fall back and listen to the parents, because right now the spirit of rebellion has got them thinking that they know more than we know. And unfortunately, we did that with our parents too. But we weren't in a society like this one. This one is more violent, and you can't come back from death. And that is a point where we're trying to get our children to understand we don't want anything to occur to them. So I thank you for coming on the air with me for this little while. And we tried to get together yesterday, and we finally got together tonight. I thank you for calling me back. Is there any last words you would like to say before we close out?
Yeah, it seems like even having children, they don't have enough time really. They take a child, raise a child. And I mean, then like all of the mothers, the fathers not together no more.
Right.
It like ever since it seems like when family got separated, like everything's got out of control.
That's right. I agree with that. When the family got separated, everything got out of control. Unfortunately, women are thinking they don't need a man, and men are out of the picture doing other things, and that really destroyed the family dynamic. Both parents being able to help the child try to maneuver through the difficulties of life. And as a result of that, I agree, we're losing a lot of people. Now, the reason I'm repeating what you're saying, because I'm thinking some people may not hear you. So anything else you want to say?
Only thing I can tell everybody, man, is just be careful and be safe, and don't let the outside destroy the inside of the household.
Right. Now, what do you mean by don't let the outside destroy the inside? A little bit more on that before you go.
I mean, it's like when you got a good thing going, man, try to be close to all the friends you are, your family.
Try to be close with friends that you know that are friends and close with family, but don't make your circle too big, and don't trust everybody, because everybody is not your friend. I agree with that. So I want to thank you for coming on. I want to thank you for your strength. And when I heard about it, man, and you know, I really felt bad. I can't imagine losing someone like that prematurely, and not only the son, but to lose the grandson as well. Do you all have memorials for the anniversary of their birthdays or anything like that?
Man, to be honest with you, man, I'll say about 2 weeks ago, there was a child in which grade, man, 2018, and it just hurt so much, man.
Wow. So since 2018, about 2 weeks ago is the first time you went to his grave, because people, I think my thing is, Kevin, is that people think once it's over, but it's never over to the person who lost someone, correct?
No, it's never over, man. It's something you got to face the rest of life.
Right, right. All of the things that weren't said, all of the things that weren't done, and the things that you wonder about, it never goes away. Is that a adequate assessment of that?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I'm gonna be honest with you. To deal with something like this, man, it's like you got to fight between God. You got to battle. It's like you got to trust God or you trust Satan.
Wow.
So, you know what I'm saying? Satan can try you at the weakest point and have you take it all the way.
Right.
Or you can take your trust and put in God and just believe in Him.
Right. Right. That's a great analogy of it. You're either gonna trust God with this, or you're gonna trust Satan with it, because your emotions are all over the place. 1 minute you're angry, 1 minute you're trying to understand it. The next minute you're sad and sorrowful, but it's a lot of different conflicting emotions. Is that pretty much adequate what you're saying?
Yes, because you know when you're upset, that's when Satan will try you the most.
Right, right, right. So for those who have not gone through this, I know you wouldn't wish this on anyone.
No.
But for those who have not gone through it, sometimes they think you just get over it. But coming from your words and many of the other people who are survivors of gun violence, you never get over it.
No.
And would you say that people who don't understand family members, should they be more understanding, more empathetic? Do you find that they're trying to tell you to get over it a little too fast?
Sometimes you just can't walk up to a person and say, man, I'm gonna get over it. I don't know how you feel, because you can't. A person never know how you feel.
Right.
And that's really making a lot of people upset when you say, you don't feel because.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. I agree with that. I always say that I have no idea how you feel. And if you would like to tell me how you feel, I'm willing to listen to how you feel, because if you haven't gone through it, you really don't know. You really will never know. And like I don't think you would wish that on anyone.
No, never.
Right. And so one of the perpetrators is 50 years mandatory. He can't get out.
No.
And the other two, did they give them a trial date?
No, not yet. No, no.
Now that you know of that area, is that area still the same, or you've never been back there?
I go through there, and it's like kind of quiet.
Right.
But you know, it's like when when a family separated.
Right.
That's when all the newcomers come around. When the younger people come around.
Right.
That's when the disturbance come up.
That's right. That's right. That's right. Absolutely true. That's going on in my community right now. When these younger people come in and those new faces, different issues come up because it's not family oriented. That's the way it is, and that's why I always encourage people to have community watch. I encourage people to always talk to each other and don't take me telling you that I saw something suspicious as snitching. We're trying to look out for the young, for the children, and we're trying to look out for the community, praying that these types of things will not become every day, but it looks like it has gotten worse since 2018. Yeah, and so, but other than that, you don't get involved with anything unless you're asked to come out. Yeah, so we have events here in Manning. I don't know if you ever heard about it, but we do have the events for murdered victims, and I'm gonna definitely make sure that you get an invitation next time we have one. And I thank you for coming on. I appreciate you for giving me the time, and my condolences still to your family, because I believe that it hurts just as much today as it did then. Again, I couldn't fathom how painful it is. Is that all you want to say, or you want to add something else before we close?
Man, all I can tell everybody, man, is try to love your family as much as possible, man, and stop all this jealousy and greed against one among each other, man. The biggest problem in this world is greed, man.
Right. Agreed. Yes, sir. Biggest problem. So those are the words from Kevin. Listen, I sincerely thank you for coming on the show, man. And we'll definitely be talking again. Anything that I do, we're linked up on Facebook now. So anything that I'm involved in, I'll try to include you. And if you're doing anything that you need help with, please don't hesitate to give us a call.
Thank you.
Okay, I appreciate it. Thank you. All right. Thank you all for tuning in. This is Jamil Salib Zamir out of Manning, South Carolina. That was a survivor. Again, his son and grandson were murdered in 2018 by individuals who allegedly knew his son. He was into music and other things and kind of allowed certain people to come into his home, which I was warned a few weeks ago to stop allowing people to come into my home, and I took the warning. So nobody else will be coming into my studio in-house. If we can't come to you, you won't be doing an interview here. So my condolences. Again, we'll probably be on tomorrow and the next day with other murder survivors of murdered victims through gun violence. We're talking to the survivors and all the things that they have been enduring since the death. And I want to encourage people to please be patient and calm, and don't think that there's any words that you can say to fix a person who's suffering from the premature loss of a child or the premature loss of a loved one. Don't think that there's any words that you can say, and if they cry every day, let them cry. Just be there to be a shoulder to cry on, and allow them to grieve in the way that they grieve, and be a listening ear. I thank you all for tuning in. This is Jamil Salib Zamir out of Manning, South Carolina. This is the Community of Concerned Citizens broadcast, and we will be coming back on tomorrow with something. I'm not sure whether we'll have another survivor or if we'll be doing a commentary. I do want to talk to you about the increase in children running away from home, the increase in them disappearing, the dangers that they are in, because we have a dangerous predator among us now. And not only that, Satan is in the house, because Satan came through the television and the computer. He's in there, and through the radio. But once they get outside and think that they're comfortable, as Mr. Kevin said, that believing that everyone is your friend is the most dangerous thing you can do, because it's your friends today who will set you up for a little bit. Remember, it happened to Jesus Christ. It can happen to us easily. Thank you for tuning in. Jamil Salib Zamir, Manning, South Carolina.
Thank you so very much for tuning in to this month installment of the 19 Report. I am your host, Brother Johnny. I walked a thin line between right and wrong, took my fears to God, then I wrote this song. The spirit kept calling, so I answered the phone, and then I manned up and got some backbone. My mind resonates at a much higher tone, solid foundation, empire zone. 3 mountains, I'm in one, right to left counted, 9 and then 1, left to right switch it, 1 and then 9, west to east, south to north, a thin line. I know Christ exists, cause his mercy allows me a chance to stand 3 on a square. Yeah, we in there. This is Brother Johnny of Groove 19 Promotions.